I am here with Shari from COIPP.
Correct.
Yes, Children of Incarcerated Parents Partnership.
You got it.
Yeah, and I just told you, and I heard you speak several years ago at the Women's Giving Circle, and when you were speaking, I thought to myself, I've never thought about the children of the people who may be incarcerated, and you obviously did. So
yes,
kudos to you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for doing that, because you know, I'm assuming when a parent is incarcerated, what happens to the kids?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For the kids, there's often a very, very big price to pay.
Sure.
And this is not a political issue. You can be on any side of the spectrum.
Yes.
But it's about children who didn't do anything wrong.
Right.
And we know from all the research and from our experience that kids will suffer socially, emotionally, academically, and financially when a parent goes away.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure. It's like being abandoned, but kind of not. And yet you are, but you're not. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's a very limbo state. I'm sure it's terrifying for young kids and
very scary.
Of all ages, I would imagine. How did this idea come about?
Sure. Well, there's the short story and then the earlier story.
Okay.
I was with Frederick County Public Schools.
Okay.
And I was the early childhood supervisor as well as the family involvement supervisor or specialist for about 30 years.
Okay.
And when I got family involvement, I knew that my heart was always with those kids who didn't have as much as other kids.
Right.
And I was working with grandparents raising kids, the foster care system, people new to the country. And it struck me that this was a group that had no voice.
Right.
The earlier story is that I grew up in Brooklyn, New York, with terrific parents.
Yeah.
Both before it was usual, both college educated. We had our own home. We didn't live in the projects in New York. That made me think I was really rich.
Yeah, yeah.
All the things that I needed. But then my dad very unexpectedly went off to prison when I was 15.
Oh, my goodness.
And it was way out of the blue, in every possible way. I didn't have anyone to relate to in that situation. Yeah. And it really became the family secret. And for a lot of kids, those situations still remain the family secret.
Yeah.
And I think tucked away in my head was that if I ever could, I was going to change that. And then here I got this added to my jobs, and it was a no-brainer.
Right.
I had to do this.
Yeah.
And that's how we got started over 20 years ago.
Well, it's incredible that your story had a direct impact on how many hundreds, maybe thousands of children that you're now guiding through this experience, and you're speaking from a point of knowledge, which is, I bet, very comforting to those children. You're not preaching to them, you're actually saying, hey, I went through this too.
I think one of the most important groups that I am so blessed to know are the caregivers raising the kids. And I'm going to add the people in jail or have been in jail, are now maybe in residential drug treatment, because I can always say, and I mean it, I've had the most amazing life.
Yeah.
So your past does not define your future.
No.
We're all on a journey.
Yes.
And I hope that gives a lot of hope to families that often think, oh, if someone goes to jail, the child's life is over.
It's done. Yeah,
that's right.
It's not the case. No, and it's not the case even as adults. If something happens and you have a hiccup or something happens, it doesn't define you. You can always move forward. Don't let it define you. Yes, because that's a terrible thing. Okay, so you start this organization.
Correct.
You start. How do you start? Do you start reaching out to people, or people find you? I mean, I'm not sure.
It was tricky.
Yeah.
First thing I did, because I was known in Frederick because of my work with the public schools, is that I called a meeting of every leader I knew, the head of Head Start and the head of health department, and no one showed up.
Oh, boy.
So I called another meeting,
Yeah.
and the joke is I said I would bring my fabulous brownies, and only one
Oh, well.
person showed up. One of my kids said, maybe they tasted your bacon.
Yeah, maybe.
But little by little, like the little train that could, people started coming. And one of the first things we did is we had a woman who was very well known in the state of Maryland, named Arlene Lee, come and do a workshop during an in-service day. And she did it for leaders at Frederick County Public Schools. And we started looking at the research and where are the children. And it just started building in the smallest of ways.
Yeah, it's
so
the planting of the seed, right?
You got it. We would go to the jail at the beginning and give away things during visitation. And now we're serving in so many capacities.
Yeah.
I will also add that it started with $200 that my husband said, take $200, get started. And now we have a budget of about $250,000.
Wow.
And we are almost all volunteers. We have 2 part-time paid workers. Everyone else is a volunteer. So we are program rich.
Yes.
And we have been so blessed on this 20-year journey.
I mean, that is incredible. And to know what, again, the whole way you got here. Now, we are standing in front of racks and racks of books.
Correct.
So I am assuming, especially as an educator,
Yes.
you know that reading is so fundamental to kids, whether it's them investing in their imaginations or escapism or whatever that is, comfort.
Yes.
That this is one great way to do it. So.
And these are all hand-chosen. We work so close with Curious Iguana Bookstore.
Yes.
And Marlene will send me, the owner will send me titles, and I will reach out to her. Every book that we give out is either about having a parent who's incarcerated, a parent who is using drugs. It's about resilience. It may be about love.
Yeah.
It's about feelings and reflections. And we use these books in many, many ways.
Yeah.
We give them away when we finish doing workshops. We give them away when we're working with people in the jail or in drug rehab when they complete our 10-week course.
Yeah.
Or if a parent calls me and says, my granddaughter's mommy just went to jail. She's 8 years old. She can't stop crying. Do you have anything for me? And I can immediately come here. Almost all these books are award winners. They all have diverse characters.
Yeah.
And except for a few classics, they're brand new and very sensitive to these issues.
Right. Yeah.
So I'm very, very proud of what we do.
Yes, absolutely. How can the community support what you're doing? What do you need from us?
Several things.
Okay.
Okay, one is, and this will sound perhaps silly, but not to stereotype in our own minds.
Yeah.
And that is not anything I can say is hard that you can give me.
Yeah.
But I think there's always a view that if the daddy or mommy went to jail, that kid is up to no good. Damaged goods.
Hanging, heading down the same path.
You got it.
Those. Yeah.
And a lot of the parents themselves believe that
about
the kids. So I want that stereotype, because it's not true, to be thrown out the window, but for people to give a helping hand.
Yeah.
The second is we didn't need that many volunteers during COVID, but now we're back.
Yes.
I have a volunteer orientation this evening.
Okay.
And if people are interested, they can just go to our website.
And I'll put that on the screen for you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And they can fill out an application to be a volunteer. And we need people to help us write grants. We need people to edit grants. We need people to help us with program. It's just trying to find the right matches.
Yes.
And of course, we always need donations.
Yes.
And that is also on our website, a place through PayPal presently.
Yeah.
But we also can use donations of things like diapers and wipes.
Okay.
Cleaning, laundry cleaning material, things that a lot of us take for granted, that if you're living on the margins, you don't have the money for. Things as simple as brand new pajamas or lip gloss, you know, during the winter, not gloss, but chapstick. Thank you.
Yes,
the simplest of things are really
toiletries and
shampoo,
personal hygiene items.
Yes, and we put that on our Facebook page. But also, all someone has to do is call. And we'll give them a list of what we could use.
Okay, that's excellent. So we'll make sure, again, that the link is available for people to come help. If there was one thing, if you had to sum up what COIPP is in one thing to somebody who didn't know, what would you say?
I would say that COIPP's mission is to make sure that children who are impacted by incarceration have the fullest childhood experience so they can become the adults we want them to be. But that means we can't just serve the child. We've got to have empathy and reach out, which we do, to the caregiver and even the person in jail or who had been in jail, because that family determines in many ways what happens for that child. That's what I would say.
Well, that's pretty powerful. And I think you've got us all just, if we just hesitate for a minute before we start to put in our own preconceptions about people, just stop for a second and think about these kids and that they're our future community. And we want them to be, you know, upstanding and great citizens of Frederick, because we love this town and this county. And if this is a way that help, I mean, why not? Why wouldn't we?
We are a one-of-a-kind organization in the nation and internationally. We've never found anyone quite like us. That is true.
Sad,
we
Shari.
are total grassroots. This is the most...
Sad.
Remember the 60s. This is grassroots.
This is grassroots.
But we're spreading the word. And I get calls from people, not just here, but all over the world.
I would imagine.
Saying, how do I start?
We do it?
Because the children are our future.
They are our future. All right. We want to thank Shari.
I'm
going to give you all the details about how you can donate or volunteer for COIPP and help these kids who are all part of Frederick. Thank you so much.
So much.
Oh, you know, I love you.